The biggest thing that I want to get across in this little moment of this speech is everybody in here is taking this for granted. It's one thing to do free work, it's another thing to do free work with heavy strategy. When I do free work, I try to think of two things. How much exposure is it? Like Tyler will tell you, sitting right here, one of the only times I still do free work is if it's massive exposure. There are 49,000 people in the audience. I'm like, it's a lot of exposure. You know, like it's live on, you know, it's during the Super, like I'll pay somebody to put me in a Super Bowl commercial. When I get exposure, or, and that's where I'm at now, for you, when you pick these 5 restaurants, let it be the biggest restaurants in your 30-mile radius. Let it be the kindest. Let it be somebody who has the biggest Instagram following, and maybe like whether you never want to give with expectation, but it's okay to ask. You're like, hey, I'd love to sharpen your knives for free, and then like you get in there and the vibes are feeling good. Maybe you're like, hey, listen, like I hope you enjoyed it. Like, wouldn't mind to take a picture for my Instagram, which then makes them say, oh, we'll put you on our Instagram. Like, you can be thoughtful and do it the right way, but if nothing else, if you do it for free for 5 people, you've established that you do it. Word of mouth is a remarkably fascinating thing. Strategic free work is one of the great moves in our society.
One of the most important people in your pathway to success is going to be yourself. So you need to make sure that you value yourself, your time, your energy, and anything that you do, because you're the most important person in your own life. You have to make sure that you're taking care of whatever it is that you need to take care of. If you wake up in the morning and you feel awful, you need to make sure that you take care of yourself. If you're feeling down and out and you're struggling, you need to make sure you go do something that brings joy to your life and finds a piece of happiness to lighten your mood, so that way you can continue to go through your journey of life. It's all about you, because you need to make sure that you're able to function at your highest capacity at all times, and you need to make sure that you're doing okay, whether that's mentally or physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Whatever the case may be, you need to make sure that you're checking in on yourself all the time, because if you start to slack in some of those areas, it can lead to a path that's just disastrous, and you will need help. But that's okay to ask for help. If you're struggling, don't be afraid to ask somebody for help, because it's okay. There are people out there, and your friends and family are going to be willing to help you in any way possible as long as you ask. It's going to be hard and it's going to be challenging to ask for help at times, but just know that is the greatest benefit to you being you, and you wanting to further yourself, and asking for help is okay.
My assistant's got a great thing now in this. Once in every 4 months, somebody sends an email saying, I've got a huge startup that I want you to invest in, but you've got to sign this NDA, right? Which literally every time gets an email back that says, I'm a humongous believer that ideas are and that execution's the game, right? We've all got ideas. Everybody's got ideas. We could probably sit here for the next 2 hours, draw them all out, record them, and predict the next 78 great startups over the next 9 years. And so I think the thing that is another theme in entrepreneurship is there is way too much fodder brought to the idea. Uber was Magic Cab 3 years earlier. Uber is not an idea. Uber existed. It's called Magic Cab. But the guys that executed it sucked, so they lost. So I think, if there's any level of romance left in this room about your idea, I'd like to suffocate it, because I think the actual situation is what you actually do with it. I can do business on this thing, and over the next year, I went headfirst and learned about eBay, learned about what was going on in Amazon, started learning the early internet culture, and in 1996, I launched WineLibrary.com, one of the first 2 e-commerce wine businesses in America. From 1998 to 2003, in a 5-year window, I grew my dad's business from a $3 to a $60 million business on very, very important terms that matter to this entire room. I had no money. It was a $3 million business that had 10% gross profit, $300,000 before expenses. There was no marketing budget. What I needed is to make every penny work like a dollar. So the strategy became day trading attention. When you day trade attention, my friends, here's what you do. You don't overspend on what everybody believes is tried and true. Every single company in this gorgeous conference right now is grossly overspending money on things that they've been doing for the last decade, because it's the things that they accept, or the reporting justifies it, or they're just lazy to try something new. Everyone. And so what you do when you day trade attention is you have to find angles. What's underpriced? How many people here do email marketing or have done email marketing in their lives? Raise your hands. Perfect, a lot of you. In 1997, I started an email newsletter. Most people that came into my liquor store didn't even know what email was in 1997. I collected, and in 1998, I had a 200,000 person email newsletter with 91% open rates. I think humans do. I think that when your brain gets tricked, funny things happen. So I think, when testosterone and other chemicals get lifted, look, there's a bunch of dudes in here that know when their chemicals shift, they become different versions of themselves, right? So I will tell you that, yes, and we're not gonna all live in pods and not interact with each other, but I would tell you right now, and don't forget, I'm talking 20 years from now. I think we're seeing the early stages now, but I'm completely convinced we're gonna spend an enormous amount of time, maybe not in our homes. Like I'm actually, it's funny, I'm trying to think about should I invest in real estate and convert them into resorts I'm trying to figure it out because there's gonna be some amazing businesses built on the back of this new world where you can have bro, Howard, what if we all literally felt we were here right now? What if this all felt real and we were just not here? I know, I get it, but I'm telling you, sit here in 1988, let me be somebody that told you about the internet in 2016, and they would never believe you. Do you know how fast things happen? Internet dating was weird and taboo 7 years ago. Now it is weird and taboo to not internet date.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like the video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let us know what you thought down in the comment section below.